Wagwan YouTube, what you saying? It is I, Diligent Fingers, and welcome back to another video. Right now, you're going to get into a track breakdown video taken from my Motion Gang Members Club, which is a Patreon style membership service that I set up back in January. If you want to join the Members Club and get these videos as soon as they come out, just go to www.diligentfingers.uk, go to memberships, pick tier 2 and you'll be able to get exclusive monthly tracks and track breakdown videos like this, plus merch like what I'm wearing now. But until then, enjoy the video. Wagwan people, what you saying? What am I doing? Everyone knows who it is. I don't need to do the intro. This is gonna end up becoming a running theme with this shit. But yeah, welcome back to the Members Club. Hold tight, the gang. We're in month 4. I'm actually surprised that I've been able to actually keep this up for 4 months. I can't lie. With how crazy the start of this year has been, I cannot lie. I'm actually surprised that I've been able to keep this up for the last 4 months. Or last 3 months. Drink water, people. But we're getting into the 4th track breakdown of the year. And I'm particularly happy about this one, because this one's a special one to me, because I think this was the start of me realizing, how far I can really go with my production in drum and bass. At least I'd done years of MCing, hosting on stages. I'd done years of just producing for myself and stuff, and I had my Bandcamp, so I could always put things out on my Bandcamp, and I had my SoundCloud, so I could do my free drum and bass, free downloads on my SoundCloud and stuff like that. But I think, seriously, this track and this moment, this track and this EP that I put out on Liquid Lab, the fact that it was coming out on Liquid Lab, a sister label to Code Lab Recordings, which is a long-standing, immense label. Do you know what I'm saying? Well respected in the scene, even though we ended up parting ways and stuff. Do you know what I mean? But well known, well respected, Heist at the helm. Do you know what I'm saying? This was the moment where it was wow, okay, I'm actually getting music signed to respectable labels. I'm actually reaching people like Heist and people like him, where I was getting the nods before, but it wasn't in the way that it was when I first released this project in 2020 and stuff. And this was the first time me and Sahala had worked with each other on a track. I'd met her a few times at Block to Block. She was coming through with her crew and her alto sounds as well and stuff, doing live performances round at Block to Block and shit. And instantly I just thought she was amazing. She has an amazing voice, and instantly I just wanted to work with her. And this was the track that I thought, right, okay, this is something that hopefully can be the start of us working together a lot. And it really was. It did so well, even though I didn't think it was the track that was going to do the best off the actual EP. The EP itself is called Voices Volume 1, and it was the first actual project that I'd released on Liquid Lab. collab recordings. I did some vocals with Zar and Channel because they were getting productions out on there, and through like me vocaling tracks with them and stuff, that's how it got to the stage where I was able to say, yo, I've got music myself, you know. I do produce my own tracks and stuff, and I've vocaled my own tracks. This EP, this Voices Volume 1 EP, was responsible for so much, do you know what I mean, that it's actually mental looking back how much of a catalyst, how much of a spark this EP actually was. I gotta give a massive shout out to Erdman and you know, Juicy Fruit Recordings and stuff, even though that's not going anymore. But I have to give a massive shout to Erdman and Juicy Fruit because they were the first proper, like, that was the first full release solo drum and bass project that I'd ever done. Do you know what I mean? Like, to actually have it released on a proper label that's going to be distributed and on Juno and all them kind of things. Like that, this was the first EP. Wasn't the first drum and bass release, but it was the first EP. Do you know what I mean? Of, you know, of my productions and stuff. So yeah, it was good. It was mad. It was a mad time. Sorry, I was getting distracted by stuff. Do you know what I'm saying on my screen? But that it was a mad time. And this track ended up being the standout. I thought the track with Charlie Green so many times, I thought that was going to be the standout on the EP, but it ended up being this one. This ended up getting played on BBC Introducing for Manchester. It ended up getting played on BBC Radio 1. I'm sure it got played on Capital. It got played on Kiss. Loads of like live streams, loads of, you know, local radio stations were playing it. Like, it got featured in I think it was J Magic's Radio 1 Essentials mix, I think it was. And that, like, it did so well. And that like, me and Sahala were just both blown away with the response that it got. So many people responded to it and connected to it. It was amazing. So yeah, we might as well get into the track, innit? You know? Oh, I'm gonna leave that in because it kind of fits with everything else that has been going on today. Well, we are back. I've had to actually re-record this part that we're going to do now, actually getting into how I've made the track, because the recording that I had before failed on me after the intro, basically. So that's why there's that mad cut there. So we are going to get straight into how I made the intro. And really, with a lot of things, as you can see, there's not, as I said before, as you can see, there's not a lot of tracks in this. It's really simple. It all started off with this loop right here, an Apple loop. And that was the start of it, and then I built it up in terms of adding harmonies from different instruments. Oh, I knew that was going to happen, but yeah, at least it's happened there. Nice breathy pad. I think that will be coming from Absinthe. I would show you the actual plugins themselves, but because Complete is updated since 2020 when I originally made this, a lot of things are playing, but they're not in their rightful places. Like, it's saying that I've only got 10 presets here when definitely there's a lot more than 10 presets on this thing. So yeah, unfortunately, with the convenience and the advantage of hindsight, unfortunately, I won't be able to go too deep into some of these plugins that I've used. Well, instruments that I've used. Sorry, just because of the nature of plugin companies updating their UIs and updating their interfaces and things like and how their instruments actually work and things like that. So, but yeah, I think that is an actual breathy pad from Absinthe. But also to give it more texture because it's mainly the high fizz as well as the leady sound from it that I like. And it does end up finishing after the reverse note from the main loop is finished. It's just got that little bit of a tail and stuff, which is absolutely fine. Then, what I normally do, what which I'm stopping doing, but normally what I would do is duplicate the track and then add another melody as a harmony. I think I did a lower one with this one, a lower harmony. And again, just filling it out musically, just filling out, um, the space and the actual track. And at this point, I think I did end up working on the drop from there and started building the drums and stuff like that. But then from building the drums and getting all the elements together, that's where elements of the intro come together as well. So we've got this high resolution percussion loop. And then we've also got the main kick coming in. In terms of any processing done on this percussion loop, I've got simple EQ low cut to around 500-600 hertz low cut, and then we've got chrome reverb in theatre for the room type, 30% wet, one just over a second decay, 50% distance, no attack, 60% size, 60% density. Kind of left it out how the settings were, to be fair, and then just brought the actual wet down because normally it starts at like 50% wet, so it's brought it down to 30 just to give it that desired reverb effect. And then we've got the kick. Straight, simple kick. Just realised that I've still got the main speakers coming through, but it's fine. Hold on. Got a kick. And in terms of processing on the kick, and now back in 2020, before who is it? Camel? Before they got bought out by Apple, like the company who owned Camel got bought out by Apple, I was using Camel Crusher for distortion, a bit of saturation, with the British Clean preset, which is just a very nice preset for just giving kicks and snares a bit more oomph and that. But since it's been bought out by Apple, it's turned into Fat Effects. So you can see all the different modules and stuff like that, for like what you would have in like Camel Fat and things like that. But yeah, I've got just simple little tiny bit of compression, little bit of filter, little bit of distortion, and that in terms of the preset British Clean preset that would normally be in Camel Crusher. And then we've got a wide sort of notch, basically, low cut at 36, around 36, high cut at around 2000, 2k hertz. And that basically, just to get rid of the pop, make it more of a thud rather than a poppy kick. And then I've got this meta filter on it, but I don't think it's actually doing anything other than adding its own little bit of colour on there. And that really and truly and stuff. So, but it's on there. It's doing something. I put it on there for a reason. Then we've got the hats. And then some extra hats to go along with that. I think this was taken out of the break that I got the snare from. And then I'll just do a loop here basically. We've got a choppy roll layer. And all of these have just got really simple processing, not much at all. Again, sort of wide notch on the first hi-hats. Like that. Hi-hats 2. Smaller notch on those hi-hats, and then a bit of reverb in the chamber, 15%. Again, not touch the other settings. Let me check if I've done anything in details. Nope, just a little bit of high cut on the high end there. Really simple processing. This choppy roll layer that I've got, just straight low cut at around 300 hertz. Just to get that whole energy and feel starting to build up in the intro. Then another layer as well, good times layer. What have I done on this? Nothing at all. Except panned it 20% to the right. Simple. Really simple. Like that. So these are all parts of the main drop that I've made, and then ended up bringing into the intro, which can be a really easy and quick way of just getting an intro together, and also keeping things in key, in theme, and like making the tune sound like it's more glued together, like everything is supposed to be there, like everything is married together in terms of the intro and drop and stuff, you know. But at this point, as I'm making the drop, and I am going to get into the drop in a second, but I'm just sticking with the intro. As I'm making the drop, I've got this wicked loop. I've got these extra like harmonies going with the loop. I've got these drums going. Nice percussion, nice layering, simple processing. But I need a main melody that's going to bring it all together, and that's where Absinthe once again comes into it with an airy piano. I think I've actually got the thing here. Yep, it says iced piano, but it doesn't sound iced to me. And I went through a lot of different riffs and ended up landing on just really, really simple one, which is just 2 notes. 3 notes. Really easy, really simple. Again, kept trying to do a few different riffs and stuff. Weren't really working. Wasn't really bringing it together, and it ended up feeling like it was too much and stuff. And that, so went with that one. Worked perfectly. And then to add to it as well, I got one of the notes, bounced it down, reversed it with the reverb. So I've kept the release that's naturally on the piano in this patch, and that, but reversed it, so I end up getting this effect. Do it again with another note. And then the low bells are just for harmonies to go along with the main melody, the main airy piano. Extra note. And that's it for the intro, really and truly. Not much to it at all. Keep it simple. Keep the vibe, really. Don't want to end up overpowering the vibe. And that for the last bit for the intro is a very popular pad that I always go to. In Logic, it's a stock Logic pad. I think it comes from Alchemy. Called the Saturn pad, but I always call it the Blade Runner pad because it reminds me of the film Blade Runner. Even though I've not seen the film, I've heard the soundtrack and I've heard many people sample the soundtrack and stuff. And even though I call it the Blade Runner pad, really it reminds me a lot of West Coast hip hop. Do you know what I mean? The G Funk, Dr. Dre, Warren G, that kind of style of like West Coast hip hop, and the sort of leads that they would use in their tracks and stuff. And you'll see what I mean when I play it. Nice riser. Gorgeous, just vibey. The sub is coming from my trusty ES2 synthesizer. I'd made my own 808 in there, and then from there I'm able to adjust all the parameters for what type of sub that I need. Nowadays I use Sublab, and I've just realized that I've actually got track 01 bass from Native Instruments. It normally comes with the kick module for it as well in that, but I've only got the bass module. I'm gonna upgrade and get the kick module as well and stuff, because I've been looking for something in terms of being able to build my own kicks. Anyway, I digress. I use different synths now, but before, this was the go-to. This was the absolute go-to. And what I also found as well, because in terms of this patch, it's modified from the 808, the 808 preset that I'd made, and that, so there's not as much attack on it, but a little bit of attack from envelope 3, little bit of attack, not so much sustain, pretty long, not full decay, but pretty long decay, long release, but not as long, still fairly short, to be fair, and that really, and that's where we've got that nice 808, but not as poundy, bit of a trail, pretty thick, and that in regards to the sustain. And on that sub, we've got Fat Effects, British Clean, once again, wicked preset on here just to get nice oomph from your sub. Again, I use something different now. I'll end up using the Szechuan saturator, which is in my favourites. I'll just get it up so you can see. But if you would have seen it from the other breakdowns that I've done. But I end up using this saturator just to get that bit of extra oomph. Plus, it's got a bit more control on it. Simpler control, but more control on it. And that, let me just get rid of that. In terms of compression, more for the side chain, really and truly, but simple, low threshold, medium ratio, pretty fast attack, pretty long release, and that, pretty fast release, and that. Really simple, not much. It's more for the side chaining for the kick than anything else. And not even that much of side chaining. I've not pushed it that much. And that is just so then the kick comes through nicely. Little bit of EQ and that mid side. So I've taken a lot of the sides out from the low end from around, cuts off at around 200, 230 hertz. And that, a little dip in the mids, just to help out with the kick coming through. That's it. Still got some of the sides, so we've still got some of the character and more of the mids and the top ends of the sub, which there won't be that much of, but fills out that area a bit more. And with that being cut from the sides, makes the sub a lot more full in the actual mono sides of the signal, mono portion of the signal, and that. But what I've ended up doing more recently, because I've been starting to use more just straight mono synths and stuff for my subs. But if I have to use a synth that is stereo and get a sub from that, like the ES2, I'll use a free plugin called Basslane, which I can use to just get rid of the width on there. So that's it with 100% width. Take it down. So that's 100% width, and then back. Hear the difference instantly. Love using this thing. I did see before in the previous recording that I can also just switch it to mono there, but I kind of like the punch that I get from just taking out the width and that, really, rather than just making it straight mono. But yeah, didn't use it in the original track because didn't use it in the original mixdown pre-master before sending it off to mastering. But now it's a pretty common tool that I use for more stereo subs and stuff like that, really. So yeah, that's the sub all coming together in the track. Vibes. And as you can see, to go along with the good times layer, we've got another layer, old jazz roller break layer, just to give it more energy. And it's gonna do that, and it's every time. Won't let me do it smooth, but it's always when it's a new element that's coming in that hasn't been played before, so it's understandable. And it's really subtle, really, really subtle. Here's the old jazz break. 20% to the left. And then along with the good times break. Really nice, really subtle, really nice. In terms of the drums as well, I've just remembered, in regards to the kick and the snare. So in regards to the kick and the snare, we've got them in a drum group. First off on the kick, got Fat Effects again. British Clean. EQ. I think I showed this before. Metafilter wasn't doing anything. But then in terms of the snare, EQ. Bit of a boost at 450 hertz. High cut, 14, let's say 14k. Low cut, 135 hertz. And that for the snare. And then where the interesting part comes in is on the actual group bus. So we've got EQ again, just a boost at around 11. 1k, sorry, at around 1k. And that saturation from saturation knob. It's not even really pushing it. It's not really pushing it that much. Just subtle neutral saturation on the snare. So just A/B it so you can hear the difference. Just like distorting the transients of the highs of the snare a bit and that. But then on the group, like I said, subtle. And then it's transient shaper. That's with it off. That's with it on. And it just brings in those tails, that roominess that was in the snare before. Makes it snap a bit more. Same with the kick. Nice, nice. And then to round it off, just a bit of extra excitement. Can't even use this exciter anymore. I use fresh air instead, because this won't actually register as a working plugin anymore. I think it's because it's 32-bit rather than 64-bit. But it's still here. It still applies in this track. And again, really subtle boost on the highs for the exciter. Bit more of a boost on the low for the kick at the bottom end, the low end of the snare, and like lows mids end of the snare. That's it. That's it. Nothing much to it at all. And then as we're getting into the switch, the second part of the drop, we've got this lovely scratchy hats, which is from a Dead Mouse loop, like scratchy percussion part of a Dead Mouse loop. And that I just took it, and it's really subtle. But it's a nice alternative to shakers, basically. A really, really nice alternative to shakers. And if you listen out a lot more in terms of my tracks, you'll probably hear it in quite a few. Just really low in the mix, but just to give the tune a bit more energy and give it the feel of shakers, but not actually shakers, you know? Yeah, man, really, really simple track. You know, once again, less is more in a sense than that. But again, I'm still producing. I've said this in other track breakdowns, but I end up still producing as if I'm still on the 2015 iMac that just can't handle much stuff anymore, you know. And that, but yeah, but with all of that, we come to the pièce de résistance, because you've got your ear candy, your risers, your crashes. That's all simple. That's all simple, really. But the pièce de résistance is the amazing vocals from Sahala. Absolute. Oh my days. Quick smoke.
Slow down, watch your step. There's no rush. Did you forget? Appreciate the time we get. I feel your sun, your love mix. Your love and miss is something I cannot forget. You shining strong, the flower opens up to your song.
Absolutely amazing. And when we break it down in terms of the vocals themselves, initially when she first sent me the vocals and that, she did record the vocals with the tune coming through quite loudly in the background. Have a listen.
Slow down, watch your step.
Actually, not on these. I think it's on. Is it these vocals?
Just slow down, hold me close, baby.
No, it's on the hook. It's on the hook. So, is it? Where is it? We were talking about it in the last video. I'm gonna be referring to the last recording that I've done, and that of this actual video, not the last video. The last recording of this video. I think it's here.
Slow down, watch your step. There's no.
Okay, that's kind of thrown me off a bit because I thought it was in a lot more in terms of that being there than it was, but it seems like it isn't actually that bad. So we're okay. But so that's thrown off what I was actually going to say in the first place because I really thought it was there. But in terms of processing, and it's the same with all of these, to be fair. Let me just take this off. Supercharged because I had that on before. And that. But in terms of processing for the vocal, it's just an EQ just so I can analyze.
Slow down, watch your step.
I don't think I ended up EQing it anyway. It didn't really need it, and that, to be fair. But I do some slight EQing on some of the singing parts of the verse and stuff. But yep, EQ. Normally, compression. Again, really simple compression. That 25 dB on the threshold. 3.1 on the ratio. Pretty fast attack, 15 milliseconds. And then 51 milliseconds for the release. Really simple. Didn't do much at all.
There's no rush. Did you forget?
Not much at all. There we've got some sibilants. Get rid of the S's.
Appreciate the time we get. I feel your sun, your love mix.
There you go. And then something that I used to use all the time, not so much now, and that is the Chris Lord Algae CLA vocals. And that reverb, delay, but I put the delay on the quarter instead of it being on slap, and that bring the reverb right down. So it's there, but it's not much of it at all. Probably say around about 10%, maybe. Oh, I was saying 6%.
Slow down, watch your step. There's no rush.
You know?
Did you forget? Appreciate the time we get. I feel your sun, your love emits.
Just nice. Just nice. And that's on all of the tracks. I was using the API 2000 compressor after the sibilance. Little bit of stereo imaging on each of the tracks just to bring the vocals forward so they're sitting on the track rather than getting mixed, getting lost in the mix a bit. That's on all of the tracks. Some of them subtle EQ. Shelf on that one as well, rolling off at say around 200 hertz and that, but I'll just delete that. I just wanted to see where that was, say around 200 hertz. And now I've got the keys on the bottom for my EQ rather than, you know, frequencies, but I'm getting used to it. It's just so that I know the fundamentals for some of these frequencies and stuff. Really handy, really handy part of Pro Q2 and Pro Q3 and that as well. Not really. No bus for the vocals, processing on each of the vocals themselves, but not much to it as well, really.
Slow down, watch your step. There's no rush. Did you forget? Appreciate the time we get.
Low layer, a low harmony, 20% to the right, just to give the main vocal space in the middle to cut through.
I feel your sun, your love mix. Your love and miss, just something I cannot forget. You shining strong, the flower opens up to your song. Like a glitch, fully fixated on you. You look at me, deep blue pools of mirror and truth. Could this be what we need to wake up from our sleep? To beings that believe in every soul and we are dreaming. Baby, baby, what are you see? Yeah. So
Gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. Didn't really need to do much work at all with these.
hold down, hold me close, baby, I just want you to know.
And then when it came to, it seems like when it came to the actual chorus,
Slow down, watch your step. There's no rush.
I think it was one of them where she forgot that she still had the speakers turned up and just got right into it. But for me, the cadence, the tone, the character, the emotion that she put into the hook and that, I think I must have just thought, screw it, go with it anyway. It probably caused some phasing issues and stuff like that, but not enough for anybody to point out, because nobody had pointed that out to me. And that really and truly, and the best I could do is just to make sure, you know, in between the gaps, if it's not needed, then to take it out, you know, so we're not hearing so much of the backing track from the recording.
Slow down, watch your step.
So that it shouldn't have been that much there, to be fair, really. And that I should have taken that down a bit.
Slow down, watch your step. There's no rush. Did you forget? Appreciate the
Because in all of these other ones, I think she's absolutely fine in terms of ad-libs. Yeah, and then we've got the lower vocal. Yeah, it's just that main one, but because it was so good, it was like this No point in trying to get you to do it again, trying to get her to do it again, sorry. And now we might as well just go with it.
Did you forget? Appreciate the time again. I feel your sign, your love miss, yeah, yeah. Slow down, hold me close, baby. I just want you to know. I just want you to know.
Get that on the actual dreamy ad libs.
I just want you to know. So slow down, slow down.
So bad, but still, it worked. It worked completely. It worked. Nobody could tell that, like, there might have been a little bit of phasing or anything like that. You know, it worked, and it did so well for us. So, you know, sometimes imperfections and little mistakes and stuff like that can really work in your favor. And then for me, what I really loved about making this track, and where I seem to have a lot of fun, even though there's not much that I needed to do, but it is breakdowns. If there's vocals where there's ad libs and trills and stuff that can be used to, you know, fill out the breakdown and that, then we've got to do it. We've got to do it. And then when it came to these, that's where some extra tape delay comes into play, along with the CLA vocals. I think I still had the delay on here as well, on the CLA vocals. But for these little spicy bits on the breakdown, gorgeous.
Slow down, I feel your sign. Slow down, I feel your sign. Slow down, I feel your sign. Slow down for me.
Oy. Gorgeous. Still got the airy piano. We've still got loads of stuff to be able to fill it out and accompany it. So when it does get to the breakdown and everything drops, and it's that time for you to take a breather, that's where the word slow down really come into play. And having that space, do you know what I mean? Not to overcomplicate it, but having that enough dreamy space, and that, gorgeous.
Slow down, I feel your sign. Slow down, I feel your sign. Slow down, I feel your sign. Slow down for me.
Gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Not much to it at all. Not much to the track at all. But yeah, man. Love this track. Absolutely adore it. Personal favourite of mine. Still play it to this day. Like I said, whenever I get a chance to, or if I'm doing liquid sets, it's definitely featuring in my liquid sets. Nothing but love for my girl Sahala and that, man. But yeah, that is Slow Down from the Voices LP. It's called Waves here. The project file's called Waves, you know, and that. But Slow Down. Liquid Lab, Voices Volume 1, myself featuring Sahala on vocals. Yeah, man. And for those that hadn't heard it before, here it is. It's not the actual mastered version because, you know, I didn't master it. It was Heist that mastered it and that. But for those that hadn't heard it before, here's some of it in its full context.
Slow down, watch your step. no rush. Did you forget? Appreciate the time we get. I feel your sun, your love bliss. Your love and miss, just something I cannot forget. You shining strong, the flower opens up to your song. Like a glitch, fully fit, fixated on you. You look at me, deep with pools of mirror and truth. Could this be what we need to wake up from our sleep? To beings that believe in every soul and we are dreaming. Baby, baby, what are you see? Yeah, yeah. Slow down, hold me close. Baby, I just want you to know. Settle in, let's begin our journey, my friend. Wrap me up, entangle much, but we complete, so I don't care too much. Hold it in, my best friend, pure source. Slow down, watch your step. There's no rush. Did you forget? Appreciate the time we get. I feel your sun, love this, yeah. Slow down, hold me close, baby. I just want you to know. I just want you to know.
Yeah, man. And that's Slow Down. April's track Breakdown. Big love to everybody who's watching. You're all absolute G's, and I shall see you next month. Blessings.
Slow down. Slow down. There's no rush to forget. Slow down. I feel your sigh. Slow